In this lesson, we'll cover sections 5, 6, and 7. The three sections that focus on cancellation, agency relationships, and properties excluded from representation. Section 5 explains how and when the buyer or broker can cancel the agreement, and what happens to compensation rights after a cancellation. This is critical for setting expectations and avoiding misunderstandings. Section 6 covers agency relationships, including required disclosures and the possibility of dual agency, so buyers clearly understand who the broker represents and how agency is confirmed in writing. Section 7 protects both buyers and brokers by addressing properties excluded from representation and the risks of signing multiple buyer representation agreements. It helps prevent conflicts and accidental double compensation. In this video, we'll walk through each section step by step, translating the legal language into practical, easy-to-explain concepts you can confidently share with your clients. Let's start with Section 5, Cancellation of the Buyer Representation Agreement. Section 5A, How to Cancel. Either buyer or broker may cancel this agreement by giving written notice at any time to the other within the time specified in paragraph 2F. 1. Cancellation must be in writing. Email, sign notice, or written form follow your brokerage policy. 2. Either party can cancel. Buyer can cancel, broker can cancel. 3. Timing is controlled by paragraph 2F. Section 5 doesn't re-explain the timing rules. It points you back to Section 2F, non-exclusive versus exclusive timing and any days after receipt blinks. Section 5B, broker may still be entitled to compensation after cancellation in certain cases. Broker can still be entitled to compensation if 1. During the representation period or the continuation period set in Section 2E3. 2. Buyer enters into contract to acquire a property where there was broker involvement, and 3. Broker delivers buyer a written list of those broker-involved properties. 4. The list must be delivered within 5 calendar days after the effective date of cancellation. 5. Payment timing is subject to paragraph 4D. Section 5C. Buyer should inform other brokers. The buyer is advised to let any new broker know there may be prior broker involvement rights, so everyone stays transparent and avoids conflicts. Section 6A. Disclosure. Agency disclosure form. Here the buyer acknowledges they received the agency disclosure form, CAR Form AD, which explains the different agency relationships in California. This paragraph warns the buyer that dual agency may happen if our brokerage also represents the seller. 1. Dual agency is possible. If your brokerage also represents the seller, you could become a dual agent. 2. Written confirmation is required. The agreement says the broker will confirm in writing whether it's buyer-only or dual agency before or at contract signing time. 3. BRBC receipt. Buyer acknowledges receipt of the BRBC disclosure/consent form. Section 7A, Advisory about buyer signing multiple buyer representation agreements. This is a multi-part warning to the buyer. Section 7A, One buyer must disclose other agreements. Buyer must inform broker in writing if buyer has signed other buyer representation agreements, exclusive or non-exclusive, for property described in Section 2B and provide a copy. Section 7A, Two buyer must disclose if another broker was involved. 1. If another broker showed the property, wrote an offer, or acted on buyer's behalf, buyer must disclose it. 2. Buyer may owe compensation to that other broker if buyer purchases. Section 7A, 3 Exclusive Agreement Risk. If buyer has an exclusive agreement with another broker that hasn't expired/terminated, buyer may owe that broker even if that other broker had no involvement. Section 7A for buyer must list in paragraph 2D properties tied to another broker obligation. Buyer must disclose in Section 2D any property where buyer is obligated to pay another broker. Section 7B, Conflicts with other broker, buyer's acknowledgement. Unless otherwise notified, buyer acknowledges that for the property identified in Section 2B, excluding those in 2D, buyer has not entered into an exclusive representation agreement with another broker, and buyer has no obligation, even under non-exclusive, to pay another broker arising out of the acquisition. Section 7C, Limitation on broker representation for excluded properties. If a property is excluded in Section 2D and the buyer is obligated to compensate another broker. 1. Broker is not obligated to assist the buyer with that property. 2. Buyer does not owe this broker compensation under this agreement for that property.